Mr. York.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Dan York. So there's been a handful of questions, and I'd like to, at least from staff's perspective, address them. I'm sure the applicant, who's got a lot of the details, if I miss something, will back me up on this when they come to the podium. We've had questions about drainage. The first question was a fair one, because we are at the headwaters. Some area does drain to Lake Elsinore, and the rest of the area drains to Santa Margarita River. So where the notch out is, in that to the left, upper left, that area in Bundy Canyon, that area does drain to Lake Elsinore. So the drainage that comes off of Sellers now and runs into that open ditch, that does go to Lake Elsinore. Thank you. So this is Sellers, where this open ditch is. All of this area in here does run down and goes over to the city, or to Lake Elsinore. This project actually, and all of the drainage from this area actually run down to Line C and run into the Murrieta Creek. And so that is in the Santa Margarita watershed. There was a question on how are we addressing increased flow. As you know, we do have pre-existing localized flooding problems in the city of Wildomar. We've been aggressively working on improvements with Riverside County Flood Control on downstream facilities, and the city has also been working on our first storm drain master plan. Regardless of those efforts, though, what this project is doing is they're building an attenuation basin in this area and an attenuation basin in this area. Basically, what we're saying is you guys cannot let any pre-existing flow increase leave your site. And so through a series of permeable pavers using infiltration and several attenuation basins, the flow from this site will be handled and mitigated before it actually even goes and leaves the site. So so that's actually how we're addressing the flow. There were discussions about downstream of the site. I think I mentioned that on what we're doing with Riverside County Flood Control and with the city's plan. These folks will be playing a contributing share into our storm drain diff, and those monies will be helpful towards us in improving those projects. There is a question on the Sedco Basin up Sellers. You're right, there is a large basin that runs down Sellers and then it runs into this ditch. And the problem that we've had is when this runs down the ditch, it runs down this Bundy Canyon Road. So there are improvements for that. This project will have to actually work with a few of the other developers to finish putting in this pipe underground, and so it won't be running out onto Bundy Canyon. And that's part of Line F, which is also a Riverside County Flood Control, but we'll be overseeing and ensuring that gets built. There was a question about recycled water use. The answer is when recycled water is available in this area, it is plumbed for recycled water, and we will be using recycled water. I'm just trying to address the engineering questions, folks. We did have a question about the landscape maintenance and some of those other things. Point noted, if it's possible, and we'll talk with them, if it makes sense to have it included in the maintenance district, that'll be something we'll talk with the applicant, so there will be communications on that. Okay, so let's talk about traffic. There's been a lot of questions about when will the road improvements occur. These road improvements will be built. Much of them will be built at the same time that they're doing the on-site grading, but the improvements will be complete on Bundy Canyon and on Monte Vista before this store is open. So before the traffic comes and impacts this community, those improvements will be done. So where will the improvements be done? The question is, are you going to run into our backyard? And the answer is no. That curb line is the northern curb line. We will not be encroaching to the north. The encroachments will be down to the south. And as you see this subdivision down here, you can see the jog where the curb is. That's going to be about the alignment of where that curb is going to be for this project as well. So for the gentleman, we will not be doing that. As far as sound walls, I don't recall the particulars on this project. I don't believe this project addresses sound walls for this improvement, but take my card and I will get you in touch with the city's EIR. The city also has a final EIR to improve Bundy Canyon Road, the 4 lanes. We're currently in design. I'm doing design survey right now, and it'll be a 4-lane facility that'll take us from this area and it'll go all the way on up to the eastern city limits. In that plan, we do address sound walls, and I believe your subdivision does get some improved walls. And I just can't recall the exact details right now, but I'll give you my card and we can talk. The next thing was, I keep hearing about Bundy Canyon traffic. I can assure you this is a top priority of our council and of staff, and we've been working diligently, like I said, to get this done. We're designing it now. I anticipate having full plan specs and estimates complete in 2015, and then we'll be knocking on the door with WRCOG to get the construction funding to actually move forward with that. So the last question that I don't know that I can fully answer right now is the question about children walking from the high school over. Mr. Taylor has also brought that up on similar other projects. We note that concern. That's not actually fully a burden on this project, but is one that staff is aware of and will be addressing at some time in the future. And I believe those are all the questions in my notes that weren't addressed prior at the dais. Thank you.
Does the applicant have any comments or responses?
Good evening. My name is Pete Ritchie. I'm with Maslin Engineering, the civil engineer for the project. Dan did a great job covering most of the items that we would cover. I just wanted to supplement a little bit, particularly on Bundy Canyon Road. Just bring attention to the commenters that with the signals going in and the medians on Bundy Canyon Road, it's going to solve a lot of the issues, specifically with, for example, people trying to peel out of the gas station. Those movements will be prohibited because of the median. The access, the flow will be a lot better with the signals installed. So a lot of those are being addressed, whether it's by the city project or the Wildomar project, the improvements. And then the only other item I wanted to mention was, as part of the widening, we are also putting in sidewalks along the project frontage where we're widening. So there will be pedestrian access where there aren't. There is some area along Monte Vista Drive that we're working with Dan and with the adjacent future residential developer to determine the best location for public sidewalks. That's not 100% determined at this point, but all of Bundy Canyon Road, at least along our project frontage, will have full sidewalk improvements. That's the only thing I had.
Pete, could you comment real quick, or maybe Matt can come up, regarding the Lake Elsinore Walmart that's currently one off-ramp away, and what the ultimate plans are?
Well, that's always in flux, but I believe the city is aware that there's another Lake Elsinore relocation project proposed farther up the 15th. So in fact, the Lake Elsinore Walmart will be quite a bit more to the north. I believe it's 7 or 8 miles. And then the existing Walmart will probably be sold and re-tenanted.
Now we'll close the public hearing. And commissioners, do you have any?
Yeah, I do. Do you have a timeline on when the Elsinore store is going to close?
No, it's dependent on this store and construction, and then the new store that's being, but until either one of these 2 stores are open, the Elsinore store will stay open.
Yeah, I realize that, but I mean, as far as, are they going to wait for the Elsinore store on Central that's going to be built, and the Wildomar store, which is going to be built? Are they both gonna be completed before they shut down the one on Grape Street?
My understanding of this can change is that if this store is projected to open before the new Elsinore store, when this store opens, the old Elsinore store will close, but that can change.
Sure, thank you.
Do you have any questions, Stan? Any questions?
I have questions. I had questions until Dan answered every one of them almost in order for me. Thank you, Dan.
Actually, I don't have a question so much as comments. I've served on a lot of committees over the years, and mainly to benefit the community. In fact, I was part of the incorporation committee. And over the years, one of the common themes that I hear from residents is, when are you going to improve my roads? When are you going to improve the flood control? And having served on these committees and interacted with the county, I can tell you that rarely are we able to get any funding from the county, much less the state of California. We're always told that we have to do it on our own. And it basically comes down to development. Without the development, you're not going to see the improvements to the roads. You're not going to see the signals. You're not going to see the sidewalks. The growth is here. You have births and you have immigration, and that's not going away. Folks are moving into the area, and they do impact the traffic regardless. And it's not the developer's fault. They are responding to a need. They didn't create the demand. They're responding to the demand. And I've always said that commercial retail is the engine that drives the economy. And that's true here in Wildomar. Without commercial retail sales, Wildomar will not have the necessary funds to improve the highways, to put in the signals and the sidewalks. Governor Brown, in his infinite wisdom, cut off millions of dollars from Wildomar for public safety and health. And he repeatedly, we've had a bipartisan commission at this latest session, unanimously voted to restore the funding, and he vetoed it. So we have to look out for ourselves. The community has to take care of itself. And I've looked through this EIR, I've looked through the conditions, and I tell you what, I'm flabbergasted by the amount of conditions that are imposed on this development. It's, in a way, it's outrageous. But somebody has to pay, and guess what? Walmart pays, and as a customer of Walmart, you get to share in that, because you will purchase the product that generates the revenue or the income whereby they can pay their fees. But it's incredible. If you take a look at it, you'll find that they're paying fees to improve sections of the freeway on Scott Road, 10 miles away. And then you look through it and see where they're paying fees to improve roads on the west side, the highways. And I hear a lot of times the negative publicity with Walmart, and I don't see Walmart as being the enemy. I think they're responding again to a need, and I fully support this project as serving the community, and it's in the best benefit of the community, and I'm going to support it.
Stan. I only have one question of staff on this. If looking at the flow of traffic, because that is an issue, is say the project's built, I go shopping at Walmart and I've used my son's car, there's no gas in it. I need to get gas, and if I have to go out the back trucking road, access to turn left on Monte Vista, to turn left on Bundy Canyon to get into the Shell station, because I don't see a left turn lane into the Shell station from there. I'm gonna be out of gas on Bunny Canyon. Is there a way, is it that I just did not see that, or it's still something that is in the negotiation process, or because I sure would like to not run out of gas, because that's happened to me a few times, and I hate pushing his car, so.
Okay, so I'm going to answer this in two ways. First of all, there are communications between this developer and the Shell. We've not worked that out. I don't know if that will move forward, and if there will actually be a direct connection between this project and that project. There are communications and staff is involved. Secondly, the reason why we have choked off several of these entrances and we've forced the turns they are primarily for motorist safety and for the best flow of traffic. So we understand it could be inconvenient to get from the Walmart site to the Shell station, but staff believes that the movements are actually safer due to the number of volume. So it's a two-part question. If we can work out a deal, those communications are happening.
Okay, thank you. Well, I hope that everybody's a good neighbor and that it does work out. And that was my only question. So,
Commissioner,
yes, you always can.
Can I
Yeah.
add something? I would like to endorse Mr. York's comments with regards to the closed median. With growth comes inconvenience for safety purposes. And I constantly see folks that can't read where it says, do not turn left and drive across the traffic, and they repeatedly do it. And
The right turn only means right turn only.
It does? Okay. I think what you have to do is, because it's a little bit like children, you tell them no, and they still do it. Well, in this case, we have some adults with a four-wheeled vehicle. It's tough to tell them no, and we can't station police officers there all the time. So what we have to do is put a raised median, which inconveniences the rest of the population, but it increases the safety. So I, for one, agree with the right turn edict, and I think it's the benefit is from a safety issue. Thank you.
Concerns, comments?
I'll agree that I wish that both parties could have already worked out an arrangement to get from Walmart to Shell and from Shell to Walmart. I understand the conflict and difficulty of that, especially since there's some temporary drains that are right in the middle of what that would be that particular path. But I hope in the long run we can do that. I mean, the convenience of it would be wonderful. The benefit of it, to me, seems relatively obvious, but it may not happen. And the safety does need to be more important. We need to make sure that we don't have, if there are kids walking to the high school, we need to make sure that they're safe. And if that means that you have to make 2 or 3 extra turns, then that's what it has to be.
So now, would anyone a commissioner like to make a motion about adopting a resolution? Item number 1, recommending city council certification of an environmental impact report.
I will do that. I will make a motion that we adopt PC resolution number 2015-01, and that it's and adopting the mitigation, monitoring, and reporting program.
Just to clarify on that motion, it's not adopting, it's recommending.
Recommending.
City council adoption.
Yes.
Of the, and certification of the EIR.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Is anyone going to
I'll second that.
Okay, and then should we do a roll call vote?
Sure.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Swan,
Yes.
Commissioner Langworthy, yes, and Commissioner Bidwell is absent. Motion carries 4-0 and 1 absent. Okay, and our second is to adopt a resolution of the Planning Commission recommending City Council approval of a change of zone from RR to CPS.
I will make that motion.
I'll second
Sorry,
make it.
sorry, yeah.
Would you,
it. You gotta
to
read it.
We
adopt?
actually need to
I will make
make
the
a
motion to adopt the resolution.
Thank you.
And I'll second. That
Let's start from scratch.
Okay, I'll make a motion to adopt resolution number
There we go,
215-02.
there we go.
Oh, I still second.
Okay,
Be consistent.
any discussion, or shall we go roll call vote? Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Swan,
Aye.
and Commissioner Langworthy says aye. Commissioner Bidwell is absent. Motion carries 4-0-1. Okay. The third item, adopting a resolution entitled PC Resolution Number 2015-03, resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Wildomar, California, recommending City Council approval of the Walmart development project, consisting of a CUP to allow alcohol sales and a plot plan for the development. And do I need to read out the whole? Good enough, okay.
I'll make a motion that we make a recommendation to council that we adopt resolution number 2015-03.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Brown, seconded by Commissioner Swan, and we'll do a roll call vote. Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Swan,
Aye.
Commissioner Langworthy, aye. Commissioner Bidwell absent. Motion carries 4-0-1. Thank you. General business. There are no general business items for the January 21st, 2015 Planning Commission meeting. Are there,
Madam Chair, maybe we should take just a quick 5-minute break before we move on with the rest of the agenda. Unless everyone wants to stay and listen to planning director comments.
okay, 5-minute
I think some
break.
people might want to.